Line 122. It should read between property. It should read removes 70% of pollutants. Line 134. There should be a comma after area and a comma after wet.
That was 134.
Yes. Line 143. It should read George Pond drains into the Knox River, which goes to Mascoma Lake, which is a source of drinking water for Lebanon. Line 144, the cyanobacteria produces a neurotoxin. Not considered, produces a neurotoxin. Line 155. Mr. Welnick said the wetlands in this area were 5 times larger, not 5 times higher. Line 160. There's a question mark here. Along the driveway, they plan to treat the stormwater. I don't know how you treat stormwater, but that's what they say, and we need eventually to get some kind of clarification of what they mean by that. Line 172. This is comments that were made by Mr. Finley when he came here. The area in question is near conservation land, not just conservation. Line 236. Oh, sorry, 230. Oh, this is regard to maximum grades on the road. I have circled 12%, but I don't know for sure that that's the maximum grade or not. But down here, he says, Finley said the slopes of the land is 15 to 20%. So that's something that eventually.
That's where an alternative, the area suggested as an alternative building site. He said it was 15 to
20%. Oh, sorry, I didn't even.
I was gonna say, if he said that it was that, then that's what we should put in there, whether that's right or not.
Yeah, that's what we put in there. I just had it underlined for a question mark. Line 236. Mr. Tice asked if there were any other places where a house could be made. Mr. Finley said it was possible, but with a lot of land work. Okay, that's all the corrections I have for the January 25th meeting. And I'll see that Mrs. Whitney gets that particular information eventually. So since I don't have the minutes from the last meeting, do any of you have any corrections on the minutes you have from that would be February 10th, correct?
I reviewed it and I'm okay,
I had
from what I can recall.
when we were discussing the dock, I just made a comment because I know the people about it being next generation. That shouldn't be in there. It has nothing to do with it.
You have a
It's on-
copy of those
Yeah,
minutes here?
I've got it on. It's line 118 on February 10th. I said, she suspects the next generation may want the dock. As the property owners have been in that town, and that's just down for 45 years, and they've only used a kayak. But
Do you have a copy of it?
I don't. It's too
Anybody
many
have a copy
pages to
of
print
the
out.
February 10th
Yeah, I
meeting?
do, yeah.
Okay, then cross out that line at
Yeah, they from there's two
yeah,
sentences.
well, okay, you got corrections.
No, I don't have any corrections.
Yeah.
All right, so
Show you that. It's-
surely you
But I know where it is.
Yeah.
I just saw it.
cross out that area. 'Cause I'll have to be sure that
let's see.
Mrs. Whitney gets that.
Well, she's gonna hear it here. Line,
Yeah,
she'll hear the line, she'll be,
But I don't see that she's tuned in.
No, but
Usually you
it's
can see her
recorded.
face.
it's recording,
Yeah.
Jerry. She's gonna take the
Thank you.
recording.
Okay, so she isn't
She'll
actually
probably
gonna come
say
here
it
to
again.
hear any of
No.
it. All right. I don't mean come here, I mean listen to the,
I shall listen to it later.
And she may put it back in.
We'll see, but it's good to get her a copy of them if we have them.
Yes, with the notes, yes.
yeah.
okay, anybody else got any comments about February 10th?
Nope.
All right, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as read,
I'll make a motion.
or as corrected, I should say.
I'll make a motion as corrected.
Second,
Been moved and seconded to approve the February 10th meeting minutes as corrected. All in favor?
All right.
aye.
Opposed? Okay. So moving on to old business.
Just one question, when will you approve the March that you had this week? Will those be approved next meeting?
I haven't gotten the minutes from her, so I
She
don't
sent them
know.
out.
She sent them out.
Yeah, I
That's
didn't
what
print
was
them.
confusing
Yeah.
about what she sent.
I would
didn't
wait
get,
till the next meeting just because it wasn't. one
because there's
that-
only two of you, three of you that are here, actually. Bill Larson and I weren't here.
No, there were four here. Sue-
No, but I mean,
Oh,
there's only three of you that were here tonight that were there.
Right, okay.
well, I haven't seen a copy of those minutes at all. I beg your pardon?
She emailed them
Yeah.
like yesterday.
I'll have to call.
Mine say 11:28 this morning.
Because I never got them so far.
It just came out, because I didn't print.
All right, so those aren't on the agenda for approval anyway, so we can move on about the Mrs. Whitney has been paid for her activities in February. Total of $68.58. Mary Ann Crandall has notified me that she's paid the invoice. Okay, so next thing is DES's request for more information from the Tabors. There's a list of 9 or 10 things that the DES has sent to Pathways Consultant for answers. And the last I talked to Seta Dietzel, she has not received answers to those questions. So that's something that is still in the process of being answered. And I asked her to send us a copy of what is done there. So that's that. There is a notice for a public hearing with regard to Peter and Terry Tabors, the ZBA meeting. Because I own a piece of property across Bog Road from them, I cannot speak for the Conservation Commission. That's considered by the town a conflict of interest. So, do any of you intend to go to that March 8th meeting where the ZBA is going to consider their appeal, which is to build the driveway
Off of Bog Road.
No,
off of George
George
Hill?
Hill.
So they aren't coming down through the Stewart land?
They're going by the Stewart land. Their land has a border with the right of way that the Tabors have acquired to get down from their road from George Hill to where they want to build their house.
Doesn't,
It's the same plan. They're
Yeah.
just going to the ZBA to see if the ZBA will,
Approve it?
Just,
wouldn't that
Or
hinge
waiver or
on what
whatever
the
it
DES says?
will you let me finish?
I'm sorry.
If they want to have the construction of the roadway approved, the ZBA can say, we have to wait for the DES's approval. We can give you provisional approval once the DES is given its approval. My concern is that if they get the road approved, because that is not related to, really, or not close to the prime wetland. and it's not on top of the aquifer. The road goes across 6 different wetlands, but that particular area is not as vital as the prime wetland and the wildlife corridor. But if the ZBA approves their road and they start building the road, and then the DES finally says, you can't build your house where you want to, this opens the door for the neighbors to claim economic hardship. Mr. Morris has already indicated to me that he expects this eventually to go to some kind of court action.
I don't know if it will or not, but, you know, even here, we're starting to get too far, because Gerald Tice is a butter. He really shouldn't even really speak on this during a public meeting of the Conservation Commission or as a
He's in
conservation.
a butter, but he's not in a butter to where they want to put the driveway.
No, but he's a butter to the land and town policy and their state court
Well-
rulings
So
that
is
state
that
that
what,
that's a
is that
direct,
what our attorney says?
and it's a direct conflict of interest. and
It-
should not
It's in
be.
this
And
book
would
here.
all the butters be required to recuse themselves?
If they're on the board that there's an action. So
But I
we had
mean,
a
other
little
boards
talk
too.
about
So
Kate
then we
being
have
here and
Kate,
talking, she can speak as an abutter, he can speak as an abutter during the public session, but he cannot speak
oh,
in a
well,
public meeting of the Conservation
So
Commission or as the
you
Conservation.
can go to the ZBA.
And speak as
As
an
an abutter.
individual, I
As a
understand.
Yeah, well,
The
I,
point is that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and this is a logistics situation. I'm not giving any opinion here, so don't get
Yeah.
yourself excited. The point is that if the ZBA has questions that it wishes to ask the Conservation Commission regarding the report that we sent to the DES, somebody has to be at that meeting to answer those questions. So I'm asking any of you, are any of you planning to go to the March 8th meeting of the ZBA? And are you prepared to stand up and answer questions if the ZBA addresses them to the Conservation Commission?
I'm not comfortable with my knowledge of the whole situation.
Well, you read the letter. that was-
I read it all, but I just feel that if I was there, I don't think I could answer well enough.
Okay,
How about you, Leah? I am a ballot clerk and I will be working from 7 to 9 that day, so I can 7 in the morning to 9 at night or later, who knows, depends on how many.
I will go. I have been in these type of actions. I've been in Concord a few times, arguing for the Conservation Commission about the same property. So, I will go. I'll do the best I can. Celie, my roommate is on the ZBA. We do not discuss anything, that she would never jeopardize her action on the ZBA. So we do, nothing is ever discussed.
So is that? a
So I want
conflict?
that under, is that a conflict of interest?
It wouldn't be a conflict if there was, if we learned that there was discussion, then she would have to recuse herself
Yeah.
from the quasi judicial
Yeah,
act.
no, because I asked her a question the other day, more general, and she said, don't do it.
Yeah.
She sent that to me in email. She's like, yeah.
Because her integrity
She's
is
really
way
good.
beyond mine.
She's-
all right, we've got a lot to cover.
Okay,
so
Just a
I-
moment, just a
I'm gonna
moment.
let Celia represent it, because I
Just a
wasn't planning on attending.
No,
No,
Leah, I
Leah,
will
Leah,
go
not
and
Celia,
do the
Leah.
best I can,
all right, so
okay, okay.
Leah is going to go to the DBA March 8th meeting. That's all we need to talk.
Okay,
Maybe I shouldn't make another comment, but I would be surprised if the ZBA would make a decision on this when DES it's under consideration with DES.
I understand that, but that's not, that's just a guess. We
That
don't
may-
know what they're going to do.
that may be something you want to reiterate.
Be sure.
I will, if
Yeah.
anybody has comments, may they give me your comments,
Yeah, okay.
email them to me, because I've been out of the business a long time, but I'll do my best.
Can I,
So,
can
I
I
have
speak?
one question.
Yes,
Yeah, I just want to let you know, the ZBA, and you guys may know, but once they get an application or appeal, they have to hear it within a certain time.
Okay.
So it's not their decision that they
Right,
are going to hear it
Right,
now.
it's just on their
They have
agenda. it
to-
has to get
Following
done.
protocol, yeah. Okay.
I have a question. question about Kate Conley,
Yes,
because she's in a butter.
she is in a butter. And she can speak as in a butter.
Okay.
If it ends up at the planning board or select board, she will have to recuse herself from this condition.
Okay,
And
I
she really was
understand that.
only at our meeting.
I didn't before, but I do now.
Yep.
Okay, onward.
I have this is for Gina and Timothy Lyons. I found out that, and I have the material here, I'll pass it around to all of you, that Gina and Timothy Lyons intend to install a Presby EnviroSeptic system. And the EnviroSeptic system is exactly the kind that I have, and it is designed to produce clear, colorless effluent. So that answered the only question that I had posed to the developer there. The rest of it seems fairly straightforward. If you have all seen the map and you have any questions that you think need to be brought up, let me know. Get a chance to look at that. If you have any questions about it, the company's description of the system, what it does, or is all there.
Wow. Isn't it, huh?
That's very much like the stuff I sent you. I don't know whether they've changed their name or whether there's two companies making the same system, but it's identical. to what I sent you.
So do they have to make, so once they lay all that pipe, how high up do they cover it? And do you have to have another area for leaching or? do you
The
know?
material that comes out of that series of tubes is what goes into the lane. That tube is designed in terms of length based upon the number of bedrooms that are in the house. And once those tubes are installed, the effluent from the septic system, there's going to be a primary sedimentation, a secondary sedimentation. That's all what septic tanks are. And then the third one is the one that goes into, in this case, a pipe that is pumped up to this system. Most of these systems work on a gravity flow. The only thing that I'm wondering about is when you put pressure on that effluent and pump it in to this Presby EnviroSeptic effluent cleaner, will that change the physical principles? Because what you have here is, first of all, a very large plastic tube with rakes in it to catch fat and other kinds of things. Then around that, there is a alternate or mixed fiber network, plastic fiber network. And in that, you get bacteria. The bacteria basically remove any particulate material that is still in that effluent. That is in turn surrounded by a rubber gasket. So it flows through these pipes, goes through all of those various meshes until finally there's enough transmission until the fluid that's left there can seep out into the ground. So this system is probably, at least from what I can gather, the best that's available at the present time.
I think, well, And I noticed in the minutes, I said, I think it's very good too, but we have a very good one too. It's called Advanced On-Site Solutions. And it's a little wastewater treatment plant, whatever water
Lee, can you
Inside of
show
it.
me
Yes,
those
I
things,
can.
please?
is usable, supposed to be usable. So there's nothing, and it takes up a very small area.
Could you send me information on that?
I will, I saw in the minutes and I was looking at it, but I said I would. And they take up a very small area, so they're really great for lakeside lots, because most lakeside lots are very small. So they are selling them, doing a lot of them. The day we had, the owner of the company designed ours, and he took it to DES and they signed it right there.
Well, according to this Presby bioseptic system, you can drink the water that comes out of there too. It's not
That's
gonna
what
have
it
a
is.
very good flavor, but it is, as
Now,
far as
is
they're
your-
concerned.
Is your leach field raised? Is your leach field raised? No, they don't need to be either. And no pipes sticking out of the ground.
Well, there is the candy cane, because
Oh, we
this,
don't have that.
this system is an aerobic system. The bacteria that are around that mesh embedded in it, they require oxygen. So those candy canes that stick up on a lot of people's properties are associated with an aerobic digestion system. Because there are two different types of systems in most of the places. There's anaerobic digestion, and then there's aerobic digestion.
We have a thing in the cellar that provides oxygen for, so
So you have an aerobic system too, you just don't get it out of the candy cane. That's fine. Okay, wildlife crossings. I have contacted Count Nathan at the Department of Corrections. And I have asked him to give us a quote on 8 signs. Yellow background,
Those are standard signs, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
the 30 by 36 is standard, so that's what I've asked him to do, is to produce 8 signs, 30 by 36, yellow-black backgrounds with black lettering that says, "Caution, wildlife crossing next 2.5 miles." I've driven up Klug Road, Jones Road, Grafton Pond Road, Boys Camp Road, and all of them have about 2.5 miles before they get to the crossing. So we need to put one at each end. That's why we have 8 signs for 4 roads.
There's actually a spot where they cross on Klug Road.
I beg your pardon?
There's actually a spot where they do cross on Klug Road.
Yes, I know that. That's why we're gonna put one there. We have to put it inside.
But I meant there's one spot and it's well traveled, you can see it. Where they,
Yeah, I have pictures of about 12 deer going across there. But I want to put down the sign, caution wildlife crossing for the whole thing, because you can't predict where
Right.
bears or foxes or coyotes or any of these other animals may cross. So I want to cover the whole road, because Mr. Taylor, Jim Taylor, mentioned to me, and that's why we've added Grafton Pond, between Bicknell Brook Trail parking area and Oak Hill Road intersection. One of his colleagues ran into a deer there, and it cost him several $1,000s damage to his diesel truck. And I read those statistics from you before about the Defenders of Wildlife, something like
Yeah, you have.
$8 billion in traffic damage or car damage across the country, all the wildlife killed. I have another book called The Flattened Fauna, which has made a estimate that for every mile of, for every 4/10 of a mile, I should say, of paved highway in the United States, there's one you had your hand.
Well, I was just wondering if the police department have those statistics, because they used to try, they used when
What department?
the police department, like in terms of accidents caused by animals.
Well, it's possible if it's appointed, if it's
reported.
reported to the police
Well,
department.
If they go after their insurance, it often has to be.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I don't have it for Enfield specifically, but I see a lot of roadkill. Most of it is gray squirrels, to be sure, but I've seen more dead porcupines than I have live porcupines in the 12 years that I've lived here. Yes,
We could really use one, was you go up Crystal Lake Road that on the hill, right at that curve. I hardly ever go home without having a deer. Now, when I came tonight, there was one that was leaned over, bottom up on the edge of the road. I don't know what it was looking, after.
now this is the junction of Crystal and.
It's just
and,
above it,
Wait a
when you,
minute, the junction of Crystal and Shaker Hill?
no, the junction of Crystal and Shaker Hill, but just go up the hill a little bit of Crystal Lake Road. And right on that curve, you hardly ever go up through there without seeing deer crossing.
Well, we can consider that too. The point is, we have to put the signs far enough in advance of the anticipated crossing. that the
Right.
Driver can.
Yeah,
alert.
you probably want it at the intersection.
And that brings up various problems. Shaker Hill is a state road,
Crystal Lake is.
and we would have to get permission from the state to put the sign there. But if we put the signs on Clue, or on Jones, or on Boys Camp, and Grafton Pond, those are all town.
But if you just put it
Well,
up
you
the
can
road
just-
from the intersection on. Crystal
Yeah,
Lake
just
Road,
above
that
the
would be okay.
intersection. It would be
That's
on.
what we plan to do, is to put it just above the internet, but we can't put it on the state side property.
But because Lock Haven, there's been 2 deer right outside our driveway in the last 3 weeks. Been
Yeah, I
dead.
drove along Lock
Oh, they're
Haven
all
and I
over the
didn't see
place.
any signs there.
Yeah, there are a lot
They're-
killed.
Yeah, but
A
I
lot.
mean, I didn't see any wildlife crossing signs.
Oh, no, 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 no. I think
So-
it's further back. There is one on towards the graveyard. cemetery.
The Lock
I
Haven
would just,
Cemetery.
I mean, not that you guys shouldn't put signs, I would just caution putting too many,
Yeah.
because DOT's proven that you start getting a lot and it becomes white noise and people
Yeah,
don't pay attention.
I agree.
Uh,
I agree. That's,
Yeah.
But you have to put one at either end of the roads, and these are the roads that Mr. Taylor has suggested.
Yeah, no, that's
Those are
fine.
the
I would
signs
just-
we want to put up.
well, let's just stop with that for now. okay?
Yeah,
That's-
I'm not going to put in for any more until I know what the budget is, until everybody approves the budget. But now I've asked him to give us a quote on 8
Nice.
30 by 36 signs.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, new business. We have a shoreland permit application by Mark Nyland. You brought your maps, so there's map 34.
I'm gonna share, I think, with us.
Depot Street, so I,
Yeah, it's a little tiny itty bitty thing right here.
Yeah, I know.
Map 34, lot 44.
I know.
He says it's 9 Depot Street. And the body of water involved is the Mascoma River. And what they want to do, he claims there's no alteration of terrain. There's no individual sewage. There's no subdivision approval asked for, and there's no wetland permit.
How big is that lot?
It's good size.
It isn't
Yeah.
really, drive by it. Where the old fire precinct was.
It's small.
Just a
But most of
moment.
Susan
I can
Brown-
tell you how big it is.
I can't read
Did
the
he
numbers.
say there'll be no vegetation or whatever
What is it he wants to do?
interfered?
Build a house.
He wants to building a 32 by 40 foot house with bulkhead 28 by 10 deck, 6 feet by 20 walkway, and a 20 by 20 driveway.
Looks like the house is pretty much on the footprint of a past house.
Well, how can you build a house that's 32 feet by 40 feet? Who's gonna live in that? One person? Anyway, that doesn't matter to me. All I'm interested in is to see whether there's anything that brings to mind on the basis of where this property is. And I have pictures here that I'll send around.
I would love to see the
Yeah.
pictures.
How far back from the river is it?
Not that far.
The river's
I don't
right
know
there.
what that.
According to this,
I mean,
it
the
looks like,
house where he's planning to put it.
looks like the deck is 18 feet at its closest.
How far does that go into
The
it?
house?
Just the deck.
The
Oh.
deck,
Oh,
the house is probably 36, 40 feet.
Okay, I'll pass these around.
28.
You can read this packet and see whether you have any comments about it.
Goes back about 185 feet, maybe.
so there is a previous house and it's in
Yeah.
there. It's not
No,
any
there-
closer.
There's nothing
That's
there
okay.
now. It
There
taken
was,
out.
yeah. It shows the footprint of where the old house was.
Oh, is that the,
Right there. There's the
So
footprint.
they've already taken down the old.
It was the fire precinct.
Yeah.
Wasn't a house, but then somebody did convert it.
Yeah, it was a building.
Not sure about that property.
What are the problems with this? Are there any problems that we see?
That's why I'm asking you to look at.
does anybody ever go to these locations and take a look? Probably be hard during the winter to see what's there.
The trouble is that you can look from the road, but unless you have the
Permission.
owner's permission, you
Correct.
cannot trespass. And many of these places are not easily visible from the road.
Right.
This one is pretty visible if you drive in there. Just
So he's going to have used town water and sewage.
Sure, yeah, so that's a
Yeah.
good thing.
So why does he have a dry well? I wonder?
Is it dry well water? No. What's a dry well for?
Yeah,
Isn't that what water leaks into? The
but
dry
he
well?
needs, he's going to have town water and town sewage.
Yeah,
It
but
could
the
be
dry
already
well may
be
be
there.
taking up runoff.
Yeah, it's like a,
'Cause
where
there is
water
a-
goes.
Across the
far as
street,
I
there's
know.
that little bank.
Oh, you
that
took
goes
it out. There it is.
straight to the-
Came right out. I was wondering where it went. I'm sitting here looking for it. That's okay. You looking at it right now?
I mean, I haven't said all this stuff to you before the meeting because it's quite voluminous.
Mm.
So what, is there a required setback from the river?
There's gonna be at least a 50-foot setback.
Yeah,
Well, then it's within that. According to this, according to what's in the packet.
It really drops right down on the back of the lot into the river. So it's really- There's a big bank there.
The deck makes it come closer. The other, even though it's within the 50 feet, if there was a house on that footprint before, well, it's okay to put one on the same.
Yeah, that's what a lot of these people are doing. is
Yeah.
And how
putting
long
their-
ago was that
He's
torn down?
not building on the same footprint.
He isn't.
No.
Uh,
That's
Close.
why he has to get a variance, because he's moving it back
Yeah.
to the setback.
Because the old building was went back to the front, the old fire station.
So he's not moving any closer to the river.
Count the deck, it's about the same.
It's probably the same.
If you count the deck, it's about, according to this, it's about the same. Looking at where the old building was, the deck just about is the same distance, 18 feet at its closest.
I've driven by there and I've seen a car parked in there. It seems like it's so small to build a house. I mean, he's gonna be able to reach out and touch his neighbor.
That is, Well, what is it? The measurement across.
So
is-
where does it go from here?
So it's going to the ZBA,
ZBA, so they're not final
Uh,
decision anyway.
goes there.
I mean, a little knowledge is so dangerous. So I've been doing all this reading.
Yeah.
And according to what, as I understand it, there's a 50-foot buffer
To the river.
to the river.
what I
Then,
thought.
because it's water, there's another 100-foot buffer where there's trees, I mean, certain trees or he can't take down if they're a certain size
I
or
don't
the.
think there's any there.
No, that's why I said, does any, if anybody,
Yeah, they aren't. 'Cause
so,
that bank is so steep.
is it? Yeah, I'm not familiar with it, but I think the ZBA is the last break on anything, so. If he can't see, but if
I
he's
mean, I don't
following
think
all the
there's
regs,
anything we
then.
can change.
So what do? We can say we recommend or not, correct?
We find
Well,
no problem.
the points you have brought up, I think are relevant. I don't believe that just because the lot is small, there is a negation of the need for vegetation between the land and the water. You say that there is complete clearance of that land.
I was only there a few weeks ago. I drove by, I looked at it. You know, maybe we need.
All right.
Maybe we need to take a
Well, it
drive
doesn't
by.
show how many feet there are
You
between
can see
the
it.
abutter's land and his land.
You can see the back of that lot from the EVA office.
There's a picture here
If you
too.
walk down their lawn.
Looks like there's some trees right along the river. Yeah, it looks like there's some trees along the river. The lot is clear. And you can
Well,
see some
that's good.
trees. There it is, right there. There's the river. And it looks like there's some line of
Those
trees.
trees are down below. I
Right,
think they're on his neighbors.
right.
But I don't know.
There could be a tree right there too, and there's some tree right there.
I don't know how accurate those trees are.
Of the updated.
Here to that.
Well, they have to be of a certain diameter
There
and
it is, that's it.
so
That's
on.
it.
So there's a big
I
tree
have
that's
my
way down on the
information
river.
from what I
Okay.
understand. A
Yeah.
tree, it's not considered a tree till they're 20 feet tall
This one is,
and 6 inches, at least 6 inches in diameter.
as long as he doesn't
Yeah.
take that big tree out, he won't lose his house into the river.
And there's some other trees there too, not quite as big, but there's a whole stand of trees in front.
Or
So
if the river doesn't flood and take the trees with him.
size of the trees are not indicated. Do you think we should ask the DES to have a water bureau person come and check those trees?
Yes, but the information I took this from is the Shoreland Water Quality Protection Act.
Okay,
I didn't realize there was all these things that were intertwined.
So if there was ever a huge flood there, yes, it could get to the top of that bank, but it would.
well, that's not our relevance. The question that we have to do is to try and prevent something like happened with the Patola property on Crystal Lake. That the land has been cleared and there is a potential then for runoff from the property without any vegetation to control it.
It looks like there's plenty of vegetation, so I don't think that's an issue. The issue is it too close for other purposes, you know? Is it gonna,
I wonder what the abutters are. They'll be at the ZBA.
I'm sure.
so I mean, there's a concern that it's within 50 feet. Other than that, it looks like there's plenty of trees in front.
I also learned that you can make, and if you're on water, you can make it only a 6-foot wide path to get to the water.
Yeah,
Am I getting educated or what? And either to a structure or the water, no more than 6
Right.
feet. That's the law.
So that's what his deck is, a 6x20.
Yeah, I said, when you said that,
Where,
bingo.
where will the deck be? On the
Deck is
back?
going to run from the structure that he wants to build to the river.
The water?
No, it's not. It's on the map, Jerry. It doesn't go down to the water. It's
Just on the house, the back of the house?
yeah,
But it's
the deck is
close.
right there.
Yeah, and he can't take those trees down, I think.
He's 18 feet from the river
Right.
So
here.
he's not gonna have a
Look
view,
at that.
and if he thinks he can take those trees down, that's another issue.
Yeah, that's another issue.
Now, this one shows how close he is to the 15 feet to the property, neighbor's property line.
I don't know that.
The old place was 40.
Pardon me.
That's why he's going to this.
So
to get the variance.
Susan Brown,
Oh,
Susan
okay.
Brown is on the right, she's the butter on the right.
Oh. Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Well, I guess our only concern is the distance from the river. I mean, that's something that can be approved, or is that etched in granite?
Well, see, that's the same thing with the idea with the deck on Ptolis, it infringed on the 50 feet.
Well,
Right.
oh,
If
50
you-
feet from the river?
Yeah,
Pardon me?
Well,
Setback.
it's a bank, and that is a definite 50-foot bank, I'm not sure. Steep behind that there.
can we,
Well, when we put that, the concrete pad, that bench honoring Mr.
Go ahead.
Gillette, Alan and I went and measured the bank from the river itself up to where we thought we could put the pad, and that measured 53 feet. We were
Yeah,
past
Because of the
our
bank.
Yes, you measure up the bank. Now, I have no idea.
see, I think this bank is really.
You're supposed to be the high water mark. That's where you are
Yeah,
measuring.
if he's got trees
Yeah,
there, then I think,
Yeah.
You can also look from the back of the town offices over there,
Yes, I can imagine.
yeah, and see that.
Well,
I did put
Ah.
the flood map up there if you want to see it. He's out of the flood zone.
that's
it-
Oh,
good.
Okay, let's see, where is
He's out.
44.
it? 44.
Yeah, you can see the
So
little
he's
blue
that,
line
he's that
on the
little
outside.
lot, he's this space right here?
The whole thing, the houses, the
Yeah.
building's gone now.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay, yeah, you're right, okay. That's
it's
that.
roughly where that square opening is, where the place is gonna be. Roughly, that's it.
Okay. We're right there. Now we're just gonna put the house across there,
Yep.
and then the deck on the back.
So
See, I always consider the
he's
part that
getting,
faces
he's
the water
applying
front.
for a permit application.
yeah. So he has a shoreline permit going to the DES as well.
Oh, he does.
Yes, that's
Good.
Well, there's not much we can do. I mean, it doesn't seem, it seems like it's
If it's
okay.
50 feet and it's up to.
It's gonna go through a lot of. checks,
Yeah,
so
So
let's move on.
I
you
think we've
just have
done
to
our
watch
job.
and make sure it doesn't cut those big trees down. They're on the river.
But like you
guys
said,
can make that recommendation to CBA that you want to make sure to protect the 50-foot buffer and that the trees along are protected as.
Because if he takes all that,
It's gonna be
all
bad.
those trees down and you get bad rain, he's gonna lose his house into the river.
so that's our recommendation. As per the requirements from the DES, trees need to stay.
Yes, but you know, some people take them down and.
I haven't-
Forgiveness after.
And is the deck within, the deck is an addition.
That has to be, is that a variance or?
That's not an addition, it's part of what he wants to build.
Yes, but I mean,
But
it
it's
is,
beyond,
just like others we discussed, it infringes on the 50 feet where the other part of the house doesn't because it was already there. But
I
if
think
you
we've already
add
determined that with the bank, as Dolores said, it's a pretty steep bank.
I
Mhm.
think his house is gonna be like a little ranch.
What has it got to do with a very steep bank?
That's, you measure, that's the
Measure
distance,
from the river.
you
up.
measure from the river up
Mhm.
the bank. So it's 18 feet from the edge, but you don't see the bank goes way down.
Or you don't measure that part of the bank, you
Yeah.
measure straight from the
No, you
high
measure-
level
No,
mark
you
back.
measure-
No, you don't.
Yeah,
You measure
I
the
think
bank.
so. You don't?
You
You
have to
measure the
measure
bank,
I
That's a
mean, if
ver-
you have a high bank, you're gonna get more feet.
Yes,
Yep,
because
Oh,
it's
geez.
vertical, they do vertical and horizontal.
Yeah.
because you have to go down that.
Because
path.
the stormwater runoff is much worse.
Yep.
The
so it's
bank.
gonna be looked at by other groups. I think we just gonna make a comment
Yeah.
that trees
I
need
haven't
to stay.
received a notice of a ZBA meeting to handle this yet.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
it's next week.
Well, I think you made a good point that we should include the tree situation, that protection.
Yeah. Is
The
that,
floodplain.
everybody agrees on that
Yeah.
recommendation?
So the two things we need to point out is preservation of the vegetation along the
River.
river, and that the bank itself results in a 50 foot setback from the river's edge.
Okay.
Because, I don't know if you remember, but on the other side of the bridge, I mean, he was over here and over there. There's a house going up over the old railroad bridge, like that's, it's a little gray house that sits there. They had a shed down on that bank, just on the edge of the river. And with global warming the last 10, 15 years, it was ready to roll into the river.
Oh, the one, oh gosh, yes.
Mr. Morris has his hand up.
I'm
The
sorry.
public hearing for this meeting is March 8th.
Oh, they're gonna have both hearings?
March 8th. Oh, I'm gonna be
Because I only
busy.
know, I only got a ZBA about that, but okay.
Oh,
fine.
that's good. You'll be there, Lee.
So
Oh.
you can represent us at ZBA on that,
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I know that.
and so can, Leah.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, there's many people on the Conservation Commission that want to come to that meeting, the better. But if it's Lee and me, okay.
My coming will depend on how long I stand out in the cold on Tuesday.
Yeah, okay, well, if it's a health issue.
Yeah,
it's
no, that's
somewhat-
understandable. No, that's, okay.
Okay, let me have all that information for that project that I passed around to you, if you've gotten it from Shirley. Where did you get all that stuff that you had, Jay?
It was emailed to me. Yeah, you sent it to
You
us.
send it, I looked at it.
I did.
before.
See, I don't get, my little Kindle is
Oh.
so big, I don't. it
Been
doesn't
so long
go
ago,
through.
I
Sorry, I
forgot
thought
that
you
I
all
did
had
that.
it. so
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
sent
even
it out.
pass it on.
Okay, good. Good,
Just
good,
ask
good.
me, I'll
Thank
print it
you.
out and drive it up.
Thank you,
All right,
because I can't get near Sally's computer,
Okay.
it's locked up. So,
okay, let's
So
move
you want
on.
this back?
Thank you. This is all.
That was a good discussion, though, I learned.
you know, there, you get on that website and you just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. I just read for like 2 hours.
Yeah, there's some, and then of course, well, it doesn't matter. Okay, moving on, Paul J. Clore Revocable Trust has also an amended shoreland impact permit. And the DES has opinion that on impact 13,642 square feet of protected shoreland in order to demolish the existing seasonal structures with a porch and deck and construct a single-family residence with a porch and deck. Add an attached garage, improve parking area, and install on-site wastewater disposal system. So the following amended projects have been sent to him from the DES. All work shall be in accordance with plans by Pathway Consulting. This guy's really making a lot of work here. Neither the new primary structure nor the proposed septic system may be constructed until the system is approved by the DES.
Now, they have available the town system there too, don't they?
This is on map 28, lot 3.
Yeah,
It's down
Oh,
by-
maybe not. This is on Shaker Boulevard.
Yeah,
what's this? That's way right there.
you know, I
Oh, that's
Wait.
right.
and there's the file number, the DES file number, so I put that in, and it came up the minutes that it was discussed. There was no other information, just the Enfield Conservation Commission minutes for that, when that was discussed. Isn't that weird? I thought that was so weird.
The amended, I've seen nothing on that. It's just amended shoreline impact. I don't know, that's all I know. What is he doing, Jerry?
Well, I just read you what he wanted to do.
I'm sorry, I didn't, I was
Let
looking
me
up the
see
map.
here, this,
It's not the gentleman that built the house and then asked for permits after.
no. And this letter to him was signed by Craig W. Day, shoreline specialist, shoreline program, wetlands bureau, and land resources management, water division. And they have a whole list of things that I just read you, some of it. If you want me to read them all, I will.
So is this an empty lot now, Jerry?
The lot itself,
It's a good sized lot.
Yeah,
yeah, it is empty at the present time as far as I can see.
So that's White's.
Now, how
property.
far back is the building
This is
plan?
White's here. Do you know the White, Mrs. White? Miss White? She's here, I believe. This is,
who's putting that up? Are you putting that in for me?
and this is Harry Trumbull, and that's Mark.
Aren't you good?
What were the other names you said there, Dolores? It's hard to hear.
This is Harry Trumbull's,
Oh, okay.
you know,
So-
down
Yeah.
Runner Road.
I wonder how far is where the blue dot is, where he's planning on putting the house? Ed?
No, that's just on my map.
Oh. I
So
wonder
is
how
there a
far from the
house
water
there?
he's planning on putting this house.
Is that just an open lot right now?
Looks like it.
I don't know.
We
I'm
should,
not- Is there a bridge to that island?
Yes.
Yes.
There is?
And there's a
You
little
go-
house out there. It's really cute. Nice.
Is it private?
All right.
It's Harry's, Harry
So
Trumbull.
what are we gonna do? I mean, right now,
It's
we've
still,
just been notified, so there's nothing much we can do.
He wants an amended shoreline impact. What is he trying to do there? Increase the shoreline?
can't do that.
I read this to you, listen to me. Impact 13,642 square feet of protected shoreland in order to demolish the existing seasonal structure with a porch and deck and construct a single-family residence with a porch and deck. Add an attached garage, improve the parking area, and install on-site wastewater disposal system. The point is, there is a structure of some kind on there.
Correct.
Now, if he wants to build, I suspect that that this land and the place that he built on is grandfathered in. If he wants to build something on that footprint, the regulations here will allow him to do that. So that's something that I don't know and he doesn't know, and the DES, or he doesn't say, and the DES is looking into that. I have no idea when.
So we just need to wait and see and make
Yeah.
sure that if it's gonna be
oh,
bigger,
that's a picture of it there.
Wait, where is there all this stuff located? Oh, you have a
that is
program
seasonal.
with all that?
Yeah, it's the town GIS.
So it is right on
You
the
don't- you
lake
can't
shore.
Show the houses next door, Kenny. Pictures. I just would like to see where it.
It is it is right on the shore, isn't it?
Okay, so that looks,
Was that the older woman that died there? She lived by herself. She didn't even have running water. There was a woman there, because I know a friend of mine was taking care of her.
No, It looks like there might be two properties on that, or is that?
That's a nice,
The
that
new
looks
one
like
he's
it's
This is
been
in
construction.
the process of being built, this one here.
yeah, but this may be an old photo of the Bucks house.
I don't know why I think with this one, but that doesn't mean there's none of mistake.
So we're just gonna say that
I think
We
that's the
reviewed
structure
it,
they're
see,
talking
he's
about.
very-
Yeah, that's the structure right there.
He's very close to
They
the
wanna
water.
clean this all out, I bet, all this rock.
Pardon
I
me?
don't recognize that place down in that cove.
We need to see a plan or something. I mean,
So is he planning on doing anything, or it doesn't say to the shoreline itself? Or
no,
just
he's gonna
putting
build a
it
house
up?
there.
I think
Yeah.
DES is investigating or
We're gonna see
evaluating.
what his plan is.
If
You
he
don't
does
know.
it on the same footprint, it's okay
Yeah.
to do it. We did that.
I think the concern is, that, you know, that, I don't even know if that has a septic
Pardon
system.
me?
I'm pretty sure it won't be. Probably gonna be not.
it's
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
be like
afraid,
this.
I'm afraid it
That's what-
won't be
This
too.
is what's happened, and septics and all of that. You know, they come in and they.
But he's got a
septic
lot of space behind him for the septic system.
Yeah, I think that, I don't even know if that place has a septic system.
Oh, that's the thing that's
You know,
scary.
it's probably like the old, Clues of cottage.
Some of them have,
that septic.
just an old metal tank that were, these places that were built back in the early 1900s.
But you know, it's interesting. My sister has a camp on Rusty Pond in Ludlow. And she, it was built back in
Leah,
the 30s.
Yes,
read the things that the DES has told him he has to do, pass that around to the rest of the people and see if there's anything else they want to add.
But they upgraded it. But there weren't any holes in it or anything.
Okay, Jerry, should we move on to the next one?
No, I want everybody to read what the DES has said is to be done on this lot 3,
Okay,
tax map 28.
okay.
And if
Is
you
that
have
the
anything,
house?
I think that's the.
That's the new one they've already done.
That's it?
Yeah.
So
What's the
there,
point?
this is after the fact?
I don't know what they're doing on the shore.
Oh. This is
Well, the house
after
is
the
there.
fact then?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
well, what the date
See,
on
it's
that
still in process.
thing
I
that the
think
DES
this is
sent
the
me,
house
Leah,
that
was
there was
February something?
Issues over with the neighbors.
This one here
Oh,
is,
I think you're right.
That's, you said they have to have it by July something, but what is the
July
date?
13th,
Yes.
expiration date, July
Something.
13th,
The
2000.
neighbors walked their view.
22.
What is the date
neighbor's
on the
view.
letter that they sent to me?
I think they did it all without anybody.
Well, they're building.
There are.
I don't see a date. This is,
I don't know what.
oh, February 20, no, amendment date, February 23rd.
Okay,
I know some of them.
Hmm,
well,
me too. They haven't been very happy.
if that's the date that I was notified, that it appeared in my box or whatever, so if they finish that building, then that's something the DES will have to take up. with
Yeah,
them.
we can do.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah,
Yes.
move on.
Please bring me that thing back.
Yep.
This is a seasonal dock notification, Crystal Lake, map 45, lot 45.
Any thoughts on that?
I haven't seen-
You don't know how big this dock is?
They had to do something
They
different.
changed it. They had
They
to
had to
change it.
change it. They were gonna
It
have,
says, just let me finish here.
sorry.
It says the complete seasonal dock notification for Lake Ponds. And then it says, on February 7th, 2022, New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, Wetland Bureau received the above referenced seasonal dock notification for lakes and ponds on
Oh, yeah.
February 10th.
Oh, you did?
You listening to this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
DES
reading
determined-
stuff too, Jerry.
The DES determined the criteria established under RSA 482 wetlands, the seasonal dock may be installed as specified in the notation. So the DES has approved their dock installation.
Okay.
That's that. I just want to let you.
Okay.
know that that's the
We
case.
looked it up. They have plenty of frontage.
They
to
have
be able
plenty
to
of
do
frontage
it.
there. I think they just want to make a space so they can spend time out on that lot, because their house is across the street.
So they can have,
So they can spend time on the lake.
well, they have plenty of land
They have-
there,
No, they have plenty of land there. That's.
Right.
That's fine.
but their house is across the street, but they have a good sized lot on, like, they have, I forget, we
Yeah.
looked up how much frontage actually they have. It's-
I just talked
was
to
over a
Ned
hundred.
yesterday.
Okay, the next item.
Okay.
Letter from Rebecca Valentine. I referred this to the Heritage Committee. She wants to know about the history of the Furlow property on 32 Follinsby Road in Enfield. Her letter was sent to Julie Huntley, and for whatever reason, they put it into a box. I have sent her an email to Rebecca Valentine, pointing out to her that this letter shouldn't have been sent to the Conservation Commission, should be addressed to the Heritage Commission, and see if they can find the historical interests that she's after. Okay, the next thing is the study of road salts. Dolores sent me this copy of this study that has shown that road salt itself, as it leaches into the water, is altering the ecosystems of lakes and ponds.
Not surprised.
I'm not
It's a good article you sent out.
It was a good article. I'm glad to see that Claremont is getting credit for what they're doing too. This is nothing new.
No, I
In
know.
fact, our DPW has gone to UNH's workshops
Good.
on this, and hopefully something will come of it. Other towns will get on board and do something. Because it's not only along Mascoma Lake that's bad, or the state road. Crystal Lake has a road right along,
along.
and all kinds of salt goes on that.
Now, the
And,
Department of Public Works here is using sodium chloride. If they switch to calcium chloride, it will be a considerable amount of safer. The chloride ion is going to be degraded by sunlight. It's the sodium that causes the problem, and that will kill trees as well.
Yeah.
California's Highway 80 has resulted in enormous amount of dead trees because of the use of salt. Calcium chloride won't do that. It's more expensive. So if the town really wants to address the problem of salt in the water, they need to think about changing the salt, the chemical formula of the salt we're using. Calcium chloride will do the same as far as melting the ice as sodium chloride will.
So what does the state use?
Well, they use sodium chloride too.
They also recommend putting brine on the road before a storm, prior to a storm coming, that will save the use of salt on the road too.
What is the brine made of? Most brines are made of sodium chloride.
Well, it's better, there's a study done on this too. I'll try to find the information for it. But
Hanover
It-
uses it a lot.
yes, and there are a
It uses
lot, many,
less salt,
Yeah.
There's a
Many,
lot less
many
sodium in that.
yeah,
It
They
uses
apply it,
Less product.
they apply it
And
before a
it's less
storm.
expensive.
They apply it and it kind of sticks to the road. You can see where they apply it.
Yeah, the
yes.
stripes.
Yeah.
It saves a lot of salt being put on the road. And most lake communities in the state have low salt areas along where the roads go along. the
That's
lakes.
all I was asking when I sent it out. I think I did copy Jim Taylor and just asked if maybe we could.
Well, I've addressed Mr. Taylor about this. He says they don't have any specific changes in the amount of salt they add. It's uniform throughout the town.
Well, I was just thinking when they go across Shaker Bridge, forget the salt.
Oh, I know.
So let me ask you this. Should the Conservation Commission write a letter to the Board of Selectmen suggesting that the town evaluate the use of calcium chloride as opposed to sodium chloride?
Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
think that would be great.
I'm okay with that.
I agree with that.
What
in-
about sand? If they use sand on the bridges, would that going into
Well,
the water?
The
It
sound
is-
gives, the
Sand
sand
is
gives people
nutrient
traction, but it doesn't necessarily
know.
melt the ice.
I mean, years ago, they used sand.
Well, doesn't Vermont use a lot less salt than New Hampshire as a state? I mean, you notice it on the roads, and I wonder if they have it. I wonder what percentage less they use, but you go to
We can
Vermont, and
check
it's
into it to
a
see.
lot less. You can tell because the roads aren't as clear.
I know.
But do we
oftentimes
need
they
all
mix-
that salt
they
to
miss-
be able
That's
to
a
get
good
around?
point,
They
Shirley.
mix sand with salt too.
Mm.
A lot of the sand is mixed with salt.
Yeah, that's the
Right.
way they distribute it on their trucks here.
Yeah.
The sand and the salt are mixed together already. So when they're
I
throwing it
didn't know
out,
they did it all.
So, yeah, I'm okay with that. Do we need to make a motion on that?
yeah,
Okay. Dolores, why don't you do this? You got the letter.
I make a motion that we write a letter to the Board of Selectmen and Jim Taylor, Director of the DPW, and ask them if we couldn't assess the quantity of salt we're using on the roads.
For the kind we use.
the chemical
Kind.
composition,
So that we can eliminate.
we can
blah, blah,
find
blah
out,
in the
first of
lake.
all, what calcium chloride costs, and whether they are willing to consider changing the type of salt they use from sodium chloride to calcium chloride.
Well, we could ask the voters that. I'd rather pay more money and take care of the water.
Well,
Because of the, and we need to say why, because of,
Yeah.
the impact
Impact,
it has
yeah.
on the water and,
So we
Yeah.
start with the letter and
Plans.
they do a
I'll
little
second it.
research. It's educating.
Do we want to ask them to send us a report within a certain time limit? So this just doesn't get pushed under the rug and forgotten about?
Look at that.
So we're gonna be looking into it. I've
Right.
already put it on my list to talk to Jim to look at some of those technologies.
oh,
You
good.
know, the one that Claremont was doing.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
senses
Oh, good.
weather and speed and it slows salt spread when it needs to
Okay.
be slowed.
So our letter would just kind of be a
It would-
voice,
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
a voice to
I
add
think
to,
it's
And it would be
something
good
that's
to
already
look
got some
into the
more-
different salt
So
concentrations.
you'll be keeping the Conservation Commission up to date about what this proposal that you're working with Jim amounts to?
Well, I'll work with Jim and I'll ask him to keep him updated on any changes that we decide on.
And he,
But I would recommend, if you guys want to look at the calcium chloride instead of sodium chloride, that you write that letter to the select board asking that happen.
okay.
I think
Because-
it's great that Claremont is setting such a great example and that they got in the paper,
yeah,
because that'll help all of our towns.
just those little
Well-
changes. that can
So we've got a second on the motion,
Yeah, we
I
do.
do.
Shirley seconded it.
okay?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Where did I get that stuff?
Do you want me to write the letter?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
You could send me the,
I'll send everybody a copy of the
and I'll
letter
make the format.
that I'm writing.
changes.
Ed, do you want me to send a copy of that letter to you?
No, that's okay. Send it to the board and then send the formal letter. You could send me a copy of the official letter.
When
Once
you
you're
send
done.
it to the board.
What's the difference between the letter I'm gonna send and what you say is an official letter?
Well, they asked you to send them a draft to look at first.
Who asked you to send a draft?
You're gonna send us a copy of what you write. We're gonna give you our input and then you're gonna formalize the letter, right?
Okay, I thought we'd already decided.
Yeah.
That's what I'll do.
Okay.
Now, there's a product that's sold at Home Depot called Ice Melt. And it is a combination of calcium chloride and magnesium chloride. So there are alternative methods to use and not use sodium chloride.
But that's, I don't know how, the quantity you can buy that in, but I've used it and
Now, they won't be buying it from Home Depot. What I'm saying is that there is a manufacturing of that particular composition.
but I know that composition, I've used it, and if there's a heavy snowfall, it doesn't work very well.
Some of that stuff is not good around houses either. I think it's the magnesium.
And if
Makes
you
a
can't
mess.
put it on-
Oh, it
can
makes
you
a
put it
real
on
mess.
cement? They're different.
We used to use it at.
See what it does when it runs off into the lake.
I try not to use much on my garage.
Okay,
Thank you for following up on that. I appreciate it. I think I heard the original remarks about that on NPR.
Yeah, that's what you said.
It was really good.
And then thankfully the Valley News got an article right out. That was good.
Yeah, they did. I saw that.
Yeah, it's a good article.
okay, I have had some correspondence from Mr. Morris, and we've already discussed that in regards to conflict of interest. So we've already decided that Leah and I are going to go to the DEA's meeting on the 8th of March, in case they have any questions about that. And basically, that we have already done what we have to do for the DES. They have acknowledged receiving our report. They have considered it themselves. They've already had one meeting to discuss it. Mr. Morris said that Pathways Consultants and the Tabors are meeting with the DES tomorrow. So those things, I've asked to set a diesel to send me a letter determining what the DES decides about them building that close to the west. One of the things we need to think about at sometime in the future is whether we want to put up a warrant article to reestablish the 100-foot setback. The state had a 100-foot setback for prime wetlands. Then they decided that they were going to give the privilege of determining those setbacks to municipalities. Enfield basically dropped the ball. They didn't institute the 100-foot setback. I talked to Rob Taylor initially when I found out about this. He said he didn't even know that the town didn't have its 100-foot setback. So that's something we'll have to take up. But if we want to really protect these prime wetlands, we've got to reestablish the 100-foot setback. There are, I noticed from the New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commissions, there's something like 23 communities in Enfield, New Hampshire, that have prime wetlands established by warrant article. Only 7 of them have a 100-foot setback. So we are remiss, I think, in doing that, but that's another art.
Yeah.
Another-
See, DES's hope was that towns would even make it a
Stricter, yeah.
stricter setback. That's whatever
It
they
used to be. I mean,
give something over to the town, they're hoping that it's stricter or not.
Well, it's not the DES, it is the damn legislature. I'm on the legislative committee for the New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commission. And the legislature is constantly changing the regulations regarding conservation issues. And so that's what happened. They decided, well, we're going to give it to the municipalities, so we don't get anybody bitching at us. Municipalities didn't pick up the slack.
Do the towns get notified of the concept? We're lucky because you're involved.
The town apparently did not get notified. Rob Taylor said he didn't even know that the town, that the.
Nobody knew.
Well, there you are.
But
But now we
that-
know, so
But
now,
there-
like you
there's a
said, it's something we have to
list.
take up.
there is a list of things that are coming up for legislation.
It came through the legislature, so with the 100 bills that get passed,
Right.
I think that should be fine.
So now we know, so let's move forward.
Does anybody have anything else they want to discuss?
I just have something quick. I spent many, many years when I was working, writing policies and procedures for hospitals. So, as I was going through all these things I was reading today, I didn't know if it would be of value when I would volunteer to do this, to write a policy and procedure of the Conservation Commission, such as when a permit is applied for, this is done, this is done, this is done. There are so many days, and I did not realize that if DES does not get back to that party in the assigned time, the people that is considered a go-ahead, and they cannot be stopped. So there's a lot of time frames you gotta watch. So I'm gonna do it for myself, so when something's going on, I can just go, because I don't have a computer, so there you go. So it's gonna be in paper form. Maybe someday I'll have one, who knows?
Well,
But,
if you write it up, I'll type it up.
I mean, does everybody think I would volunteer to do this? It would be, I would take my time, to make sure it was done correctly with all, I would reference everything that I took it from, so you'd know.
I have
Yeah.
no problem, but I just want to let you know that I have worked out a deal with Wendy Huntley,
Uh-huh,
that whenever she gets, because the dredge and fill permits are the ones that the Conservation Commission has the most authority to say anything about.
yes,
We have to advise the DES within 14 days of
Right.
getting that dredge and fill permit that the Conservation Commission intends to intervene. We're the only group that can intervene according to the regulations. I've asked Mrs. Huntley before when Sandy Romano was handling the dredge and fill permits. She didn't always get them in time either, but she also didn't always send me a notice that they were there. I've been going in to get the stuff out of the box virtually 3 times a week. But Wendy Huntley now sends me those dredge and fill
That's
permits
wonderful.
by email. So that's how I was able to get ahead of this situation with the paper property, because the town got the letter on December 28th. But I didn't get it until January 4th. That gave me about 6 days at the most to notify the DES that the Conservation Commission intended to intervene. But I can't do that unless I get the go-ahead from all the rest of the members of the commission. That's one I think I called some kind of a special discussion. Anyway, now as far as the intent to cut is concerned, Julie Huntley is very, very good in sending me that because she has to sign off on that for tax purposes. And as soon as she does that, she notifies me. I think it'd be a good idea if you can get all of those things down, particularly the time limits.
Yeah,
And then we'll know, hopefully, that we have a certain amount. The intent to cut permits are not a big deal in the sense that the only thing we need to look at is whether they're actually cutting for building a house or whether it's just for lumber. Because if it's for lumber, the Conservation Commission doesn't have much to say. And the town doesn't either. I got a hold of the woman who handles the New Hampshire Preservation, or the Society for the Preservation of New Hampshire Forests. She told me that the state does not allow municipalities to control the amount of harvesting of timber on those lands. So the idea that you can't clear cut is not relevant.
no,
Even though the town says you're not supposed to, they don't have any authority to do that. And there's, as a result, we don't even. Okay, so Leah, will you see to that letter being written and pass it around to everybody so they can make any comments?
Not a letter, it's a protocol.
Well, I mean, the
Procedure.
protocol, but you gotta put it
Procedure.
into some kind of a format that we can all.
agree,
But the
vote on.
procedure sounds good.
Yeah.
And if
procedure.
you want help, I can.
Oh, okay, but gotta get everything right.
You had
Just
your
let me
hand
know.
up, Dolores, about
Yes,
that?
this is, well, it's related to the Conservation Commission. I'm a co-chair of the Old Home Day Committee. And we started meeting and planning our 2022 Old Home Day. Shirley's on our committee. Anybody else that wants to get involved, sure, welcome. So Old Home Day, we're gonna go back to the old dates that we wanted years ago. So it'll be in September, and this year it'll be September 23rd,
23rd to 25th.
25th, 2 days. And in the past, the Conservation Commission has always organized the hike, but we can think about another event we'd like to do, maybe.
Something
maybe a hike with
educational.
Yeah, more education, and maybe it's something around, different ways that people can help protect our environment. Like stop using plastic bags.
I went to Shirley Farm with Eastman Project, Eastman Development, and you had that lady come. What was her name? The genius there, who did the bread and the flour to show what happened when you didn't, with,
Oh.
what is her name?
Oh,
It's
gosh.
Kitty, or this, she has a cute little name. Brilliant woman. She goes all over, even the world. Very down to earth.
Cat,
Cat,
but that's,
great,
I can't remember.
great. She gives a lecture or a talk, a program. You go and she shows what happens when your soil is not taken care of, and this and that, and what you do. And I mean, everybody was like, just amazing. I think, we could, if we had the money to get her to come. I called her once. I was gonna pay for it myself, but I couldn't quite do it like that, but it's within reach.
Yeah, and that is one thing we could do as a service. to the
Oh,
community.
and the kids, and
Is
she
have,
geared to
speakers.
kids too,
That would be great for.
I like,
That
I would like to see.
That sounds like a great idea.
That'd be a great
She's
idea for the
so
old home
smart,
day.
The way she did.
Okay, we can talk
What's her
about.
name?
Old
Who
Home
wants
Day.
to look into hiring
Yeah,
her?
why don't
We
you
have-
research her name and maybe if she's got
I
a
can get
website,
her the
you know?
information,
Okay, find that out.
contact
We'll talk about it next
information
meeting.
from Eastman.
Wonderful.
All right, so when we can talk about it at Old Home Day.
Find
That's a
out-
great idea, Lee.
And we might still be able to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we need to do a variety
Yeah.
show.
That's a good idea, though. That's a start.
Good, thank you.
Find out if she'll come, what she costs, what her charges are.
I will.
The Conservation Commission has $10,000 in its trust, so there's plenty of money to cover those costs.
It's like $200 or something like that.
Education is important.
And yeah, the kids open, oh yeah.
I
The other
haven't-
thing I wanted to point out to you is that I have approached Alan Strickland
Uh-huh.
regarding his willingness to become the trail master for Enfield. I proposed this to the acting town manager. He brought it to the Board of Selectmen. As far as I know, they haven't done anything else.
I
I
think they
saw
should.
him the other day and asked him if he was still willing to do that. I mentioned that to the head of the recreation department, if that would be something that they would be willing, or they said yes. So what I want to know from you now is, do you authorize me to pursue this? Perfect.
Yes.
Yes.
I can work with you on that too. It was passed on to me. I just haven't gotten.
That
to
would be a
yet,
wonderful
so.
thing.
Yeah,
Alan gets a lot of enjoyment. He does a lot on his own, you know, so my.
Well, he knows every trail in this town and has hiked them all. Many
And skied
times.
him.
And skied them or whatever. So this would dovetail into the recreational aspect of the town and provide the opportunity to encourage people to come here, see the value of open land. He would be able to organize groups to keep the trails clean, which right now he does, he tells me, practically on his own anyhow. So he is
would he
perfectly,
need any other support? Because I'd like to be involved in that. if so.
do I need any other support for
Does
what?
he, would, if Alan needs any other support, and I've talked to Alan about this already, I'd like to help him.
Well, okay, I mean, that's fine with me.
Because
Look
I
at
have
what he
that,
does,
I have that group that I've been doing that
Yeah.
Enfield Outdoors.
that's fine.
I think we need to determine what it amounts to, this title, this job, and what is it actually gonna be? It has a nice title and kind of know what it is. It's. you know,
Well,
chair
those are the
for-
things that we have to flesh out.
Right.
Is it a
He
job
isn't
or
ex-
is it a volunteer?
He isn't expecting any salary. I said it would be volunteer. But,
But we want to flesh it out.
Yeah.
And then that way the town can support it in whatever way it can. If it feels that it's a good thing, right?
Yeah, and you guys can maybe put together what you think, like a little job description, if you will. And we're hopefully hiring a new rec director soon. And we can work with them to see how we can coordinate all this.
Would you be willing to do that, Dolores, since
I
you're
would
so
almost-
knowledgeable?
I would almost ask Alan to craft something because he's familiar with the responsibilities and, the skills and experience, and then we can tweak it.
I agree.
in my impression, though, it should come from the Conservation Commission and the Rec Department. because
Yeah, I
then the
mean,
Board
that's
of-
true, but oftentimes when you are developing a new position, you work with someone that has done the job and then you tweak it.
Yeah, well, that's fine. As I say, I've talked to him about this already.
Although he may not want to write something. But I'd definitely help because I've been doing a lot of
Sure.
jobs.
Biggest problem is recruiting crews to keep the trails clean. And I don't think you're gonna be able to carry a chainsaw and do that.
You'd be surprised like.
You told me that. All right.
I'm getting one of those little mini, you seen those little mini things?
You really don't want to use too many chainsaws, but
Well, he's
To
cutting
cut
up
kindling.
limbs and trunks that have fallen
you
across.
should see my trails and you'll have to look at them because I did them with John.
They're
And I will
beautiful.
volunteer you to carry the chainsaws and cut them up for the ground.
I just bring John along with the chainsaw. He likes the chainsaw.
All right, motion to
Okay.
adjourn.
Oh, do we need to vote on Alan?
No, I asked you already and nobody
Yes,
said no.
okay.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second it. Thank
All in
you.
favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
for
Thank you,
joining us.
Mr. Morris, for
Yes.
coming.
Welcome.